Okay, so this is a continuation. I just want to do a segment there and put it out there. So we're still waiting for the Dow Jones to open, and I know that there are people on the 1 minute chart. So let's just take a look at their view, and for that, we're just going to. This is a 50 pip handles. This is the big round number here. This dark line, and this is the 50-yard line. This aerial view of a football game. Also, you could. We're in the end zone. If you're a football player, this is the end zone, and this is the kill zone. I actually added some. I actually bought some more here in between video uploads, and of course, all that little timing. I probably do want to scalp out of something if I only want to maintain so much margin exposure. Of course, this would also take some work, and of course, manual trading. This isn't too bad. I have this set. MT4 is going to keep bringing up this 88 pip exit. But what if I think that we're going to probably go up 10 this time because the market's getting all trapped underneath in this auction area right now? This window is only going to be available for the next hour. This is a 1 hour deep discount sale in this currency. This will cash out and maybe make $120 because I put a 10 pip thing in there. I'm in comments are turned off because I'm not really running any scripts. I'm just manually trading it. Now, I could have a drop that I wrote that says buy this with a stop of X. Now, this is way more work than just dumping 10 grand in the account and trading like a fucking drunken sailor. Is a completely different approach to trading, which is completely viable. This is how Soros and all these people made money, because they're just like, dude, give me, okay, buy me some. You really think that the big boys are trading with stops? They're like, dude, that account is at risk. This is why this guy, Norman, he's like, yeah, of course, he's decided right up front the account is the risk. He's risking the whole account. But like I said, if you got 20 accounts, what does that matter? Now, this is just a lifestyle situation. This is a lifestyle view or a proper way to trade. Only risk 2% of your account. Well, how many accounts do you have, right? Oh, they're coming after me now. Look at, just when I said it's going back up. So I really am, I could blow this account up too. All the market has to do is shear down before the Dow Jones open, which it could shear down into. It's like sheer, same problem if you're in an airplane. And of course, this goes, the issue here is that if you zoom out, this wick goes way back in the Wayback Machine. All the way back to the last known low on the weekly is way the fuck down here. I mean, it's insane. But this little ledge here, so let me get rid of that. Since I'm manually trading, we need more screen. Oh, I'm down 200. See, I'm all the way back to 10 grand. So I was actually at 2 grand was my highest watermark here. Can we shear down to this price in the next 40 minutes? That's the contest. Now let's take a look at that 1 minute chart. We'll be ridiculous. Let's get rid of our, well, we can leave it there. We can leave all that graphics there, and we'll zoom in, and we'll try to get a look at that 1 minute chart and see what these guys. Now, I'm sure that anybody that has a buy limit here, that's some big boy banker that put just buy limit there because they knew that was like the low. They're probably not looking at the 1 minute chart, because we could have already taken profits here, and I could probably see it on the 1 minute. This is our exit right here. We missed it. Like, this is, in other words, this is the bottom that became a top on the internal story of this currency. Triple bottom becomes a top on the wick. Bam, they're out. Now, we could have got out there, and we would have been at X. Now, I've set to be realistic about it. I put a take profit on here. And I should put another take profit on this one, and I'll put a little bit higher, because I think we could pop up there. So now I'm actually going to say, you know what, I'm going to take some of these tickets off. And of course, there's only this many tickets, so I keep track. I mean, like, you know, well, I should have picked the round number here, but it's like 100 grand or some shit. $1 million. Now the count's definitely 501 leverage here, I think. Okay, so the question is, how do you feel about, and if this gets to 20 grand and you keep trading like this without stops, now you're risking 20 grand. At what point do you close out the account and then, or take the account down to 5 grand and trade it with stops? There has to be some point at which you have to think of the overall story, right? I mean, that has to come into it. You could have just made this 2 grand and just gone on about your business today. We knew that this was going to be a big deal, and you could see the way the price behaves at that level. It rifles through that because this is the line that I drew based on the what did I draw that on? I think that's just based on close. I just put it right here. Actually, it's this basement, this wick, but we've already cut that wick. There was this one here, no? Okay, this is the most critical thing that's happened. We took out yesterday's low, so let's see where that's at. We're stuck right now below yesterday's low. Is this unfair value? Is this sustainable? Can we keep going down? So people will say, well, you're trading against the trend here. You're trading reversals. You should never do that. Well, I think it's about how much you believe that buy low, sell high works, and are you willing to trade this style where you risk the whole account? It's a whole different question than if you're going to just come in here and scalp, and you know that if you were to buy from here down all day long, you can see your exit. Now you have to frame this vertically. A little tough here. Okay, so now we go to the 1 minute, and we see that if I probably have to go to this one. Here's the daily. Here is the yesterday's low, which is the top of the chart. At some point today, we blew through that. We blew through that. We came all the way to here. We screamed all the way to this floor, which is the 5 minute, the internal floor on the 5. That had to be your exit. If you think this is a chess game, that's got to be the castle. That's got to be the best fucking move this market's ever made against anybody that's sold here. Or they sold here. And why does it reverse here? Because the people that sold here there are going, holy shit, we were so wrong. We don't trade with stops. So the big boys don't trade with stops. But is that really why it's reversing there? Now we're about to break out this 5 minute bar. But I'm going to get in before the breakout. I'm going to risk the whole account today. Now, I could take this account up to 100 grand if I just let it go for the next month. If the market goes up 200 pips. I can also trade around to what I'm in here, scalp along the way, back it off, and now I could do the math and say, okay, I could trade with standard lots. There's now $1 million in the account, and I could just be a pig. And if I'm underwater, I'll trade like this guy, Forex Hangout guy. I understand what he's doing. He's risking, well, I don't know if he trades with stops, but my view of it is he thinks, well, the market can't do anything too terrible. I'm not going to trade during. He's not going to trade during the news. So this is the thing. You're going into a world where anything can happen. I'm not going to trade against the news. I'm not going to do. So you have this checklist. I'm not going to cheat on my wife. But if you've ever made money trading by breaking every fucking rule that you've ever heard anybody say, and then you go, well, fuck, is that okay to do? This is where you'd have to get your own grip on your own view of what's going on and accept that without a moving average here or even trend lines, or, well, I suppose this structure, a vertical structure of tops become bottoms is a real thing. Did sellers come in here on the 5 minute and get and sell? They sure did. Are those sellers people that bought here? Are they new sellers? Who cares? Who knows? We just know this happens over and over again. We also know that there is a vacuum hole here that is 20 minutes long. 5 times 4. 5 bars. This is maximum zoom in on the Windows platform at 200%, forcing Windows 8 to go to 200%. That's why these are the biggest fucking, I can make them bigger, but I want that little sliver between so I can think, well, that's the rollover between every 5 minutes. Now, time frame wise, the 5-minute chart is tradable. The 1-minute chart, unless you want to lose your fucking mind. Now, it's tradable from the standpoint of that we know that this triple, quadruple bottom becomes a top here in time, and there's a reason for that. Because buyers came in here, and this is the top become a bottom theory. 5-minute chart, somebody asked me, do you just trade the euro dollar? Yeah, why would I go trade something else? I can trade this so fucking big. Now we're back at the $1,000. We padded the account, but we're actually up here, so I'm going to buy a little bit more. So I should be buying this, right? But I'm not going to chase it. Okay, it already popped on the 5. You see that? We missed it. In other words, we missed our exit. If we were going to sell rooftops, we should have just cashed out on something. Can the bears hold this underwater? This market? I say fuck no. I'm going to buy some more. Okay, so now I'm risking half the account is being used in margin, and we would just let that cook and see what. It's now the top of the hour. In other words, another thing, don't forget, this is a big deal. When we hit there, we're only half hour from the Dow Jones opening now. Sellers have come in. Are they cashing out? Now they should be, because they know that if this vacuum's been filled here, most people are going to bail right there. Here comes the, I guess you call them trend traders. The 5-minute trend traders can draw their first trend line. The 5-minute world is tradable. But would it matter to the guy that is on the daily chart, and he just bought new lows, and we are above the new lows right now? We're currently above. So they've been trapped. In other words, the people that trade breakouts in very violent big bar breakouts just never work because you're at the edge. Small bar breakouts work because you know that that's low volatility. In other words, had you put in a hedging system here, sell stop, in other words, the high to low on the bar tells you what trade plan you should be running. You need to be in a breakout mode here. Any goober bot worth its soul would have sold here, 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 maybe trapped on a buy there. The lower the ATR, the lower the true range of each bar. So true range, not ATR. Okay. Let me get rid of that stuff so you see. This, the idea that you're going to put in a order and bracket a small, it has to be a small 4-hour time frame. This is just a real mechanical way to make a lot of money. It's work though, because still you can't be awake 24 hours. You gotta kind of check in every 4 hours with this market. Now here it's going to be typically, right now, we just completed the 4-hour chart, so it's going to be 9, 1, and 5. And it's perfect because the U.S. markets close at 5. This is your classic 4-hour broker. So this vacuum gets filled. People with deep pockets are buying here. They are underwater. They're buying here. They are underwater on the 4-hour chart. They bought tons here because it had a double wick, and that's what I did. Now, the strange thing is that you can make more money in one day than you can make all week if you trade really big on a super stupid trade. Painfully obvious trade. Why am I trading at 1.24 standard lots? Because all I did was scroll up like this. I've done it a million times in a demo. Trading this big, but it's the mindset. Now I'm up 1,400, which I'm overall up 2,200 in equity. These numbers are just baffling. I'm taking half of the account is in here. and risk. So it's $1 million, a little bit around $1 million of currency. At 14. We're still waiting for the Dow Jones to open here. So I'm going to take a break. Now a word from our sponsors. We're sponsored by blowupyouraccount.com. I really encourage people to take a demo and see what they can do with it. Now, you can double a demo. To quadruple it means the market has to move so astoundingly from where you're at. I mean, in other words, if you market came down 20 pips and you bought into a 20 pips, if you martingale in a 20 pip sell-off, then you wait for it to retrace all the way back till it's not down 20 pips. You could probably double the account if you bought very heavy at the bottom. So if I got to 20 grand on this, on the equity here, I just got out, went flat, and be like, boom, I'm done. But if my sights, this is why top-down analysis is dangerous psychologically, because if I look at the monthly, I'd say, well, shit, this thing's about to fucking... We're still back at the monthly pivot here. And we're all the way back to this damn price here, this window. And we got this perfect double top here on the closing prices right there. We have a perfect. We're sitting right at this closing pivot right now. It's just fucking amazing. I'm going to buy some more. And now I'm going to stress the account out a little bit. I'm going to buy some more into the Dow Jones Open. I need to scalp out of something, and where is that going to be? Where do I got to scalp out? Of course, I can see the exit window is going to be at the round number for a lot of people. I think this is the monthly, and we are below last month's. We're still here. A lot of people are going to get out there, and then on the weekly chart, that is this wick here, and it is this vacuum, and these people that got in really big are waiting for this price to get out, I suppose, because this low goes back lower than that one just by a skosh. That is a big deal. That is really, I wish somebody would have showed me that years ago and said, what would you do if the price was here? And of course, I wish I would have known that I could have placed a buy limit down there, because I would have just walked away and risked the whole account. It didn't matter. Of course, we didn't, I did trade with stops though, and I think my broker, I think they would just take you out of the trade. I was only in 2 contracts of soybeans when it went limit down or something, or limit up against me. I think I might have been shorting it or something, because that's really news driven in a way. About that's the old story about the soybeans in the Chicago Board of Trade, where they're trading it, and there's a drought and everything. It starts raining outside in Chicago, and they see the traders on the floor see the rain hitting the windows, and they all buy. They all sell soybeans because they think the drought's over. So it's just humans reacting. And of course, that was probably already overbid. But any type of kind of tipping point, and what's the tipping point here? Is these new lows, and I can only imagine what you would see right now is the trend traders saying, oh, see, I told you the trend was down, and they're just sitting there going, oh, dude, this thing's going down to like 107. And, but the scalper, it may go down to 107, but the scalpers are going to have their way with this thing. I suspect by the time the Dow Jones comes open, if we get back to this level, now where is that in the landscape of the hourly chart? So all of a sudden the hourly chart kind of makes sense. This window here, that's a big deal price. That'll be an exit. But now on the 1 hour we can see this fractal. Right, that's a Williams fractal here. Anything that turns here, anything that's, his fractal is too elaborate. I'm just going to say you only need 3 wicks for a fractal. You don't need 5 fucking bars to make a fractal. That's so stupid. You just need 1 bar, actually. Here we're screaming back north. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the half hour. I see this exit. there's stops here from the sellers, run trailing stops into this collapse. Of course, don't forget that there's people, that's why I'm trying to build this 1 hour breakout bot, and I will get it done one day. This is the 1 hour chart. In other words, the robot's going to come in here, and for me, it's going to put in stops. Sell stop, sell stop, sell stop, buy stop, buy stop, buy stop. And it will make money from this move. And it will come in and launch the same hedge, the same hedge, the same hedge, and then bam, it finally makes money. Of course, it almost needs to be so small as it can't get in very, in other words, it has to cluster up. You need many robots. And most of the robots will be involved in that. And then, of course, they're out of the picture until they see small bars. They're always looking for these small bars. Small bar bot. So I'm trying to build a small bar bot, but I don't know how to code. Now this is just structure trading here. We're at 20. We're up almost. Well, we're at if we get out everything right now, we're up $3,800 this morning in the span of. I think I started right here. It's not even been an hour I've been trading. Close all open and pendings right now. This is the 15-minute. We're coming back to this floor. Should be obvious at this point. There's the big deal. This is was taken out, and the 15-minute. This is why I think it's possible to have a 15-minute bot that just gets in here, and he's making his little thing on top of everything else that's going on. But you can also see this if you're going to babysit the market. You'd have to pull the trigger at the market here where this bottom becomes a top before we crash through this 15-minute low volatility bar. Now we're screaming back to here. We'll see sellers coming in this window. And I don't think I have any scalps in here, and I'm up 400. I'm up, I'm up 20. I'm up $4,500. And now this is where really this is the hardest part. Do I let it ride? Do I wait for the stocks to open? Do I think that we're at the end of this move? I say on this demo, since it's a demo account, just to convince myself that this does work, I'm just let it go. Now, if I never touch this account, there are no stops, no take profits. I still have pendings at deep. Now, what I really need to do is pluck off the bottom tickets. This account is done for the day. I can't trade it anymore. I have to either get out of something or just let it go, whole thing, just walk away from the whole thing. I just know. I've seen it a million times. Going to delete all these pendings though. Now this is the nice thing is I know that if we don't take out today's low, this account's good to go to the end of time. No pendings, no exposure here. Take all that risk off the table. All those pendings, naked pendings. That's like the fucking option guy. Naked trading, are you nuts? Okay, we have no stops, no take profits. We are in $1 million position. We're up $4,700. In 45 minutes, do we let it go? I mean, this is the questions you got to keep. This is the point of the demo. How do you feel about opening an account with 10 grand in the morning, making 5 grand because you could see a hole in the market? It's almost like you're not looking for an edge. You are getting at the edge of the wicks, but you're looking for a hole. You're looking for the voids. You're looking for the nooks and crannies that are going to get filled. The kill zones, the unfair value, the fair value. How often are you ever going to see a trade like this? This is the total contrarian entry of all entries. There's not one fucking, other than RSI probably giving you a monthly divergence on the 2-period right now. There's nothing here. If I insert the RSI right now, I guarantee you there's divergence. There has to be. Look at that thing. Are you nuts? Divergence, right? On the monthlies? Oh my God. Now, the problem is that I know people that have money to trade this. And if I told them this, they'd go, Who are you? What do you know? And then the people that think you do know, they'd be like, oh, great. But at some point you got to realize, how often are you ever going to see this setup again for the next 12 months? You're not. I mean, for a long-term trade, this is insane. So I should just let this account go. If we ever take out this high and never look back, what do you think this account would be worth? I should just let it go. And the reason why is because just to convince yourself that that's what happens, it really does happen. And people will make so much fucking money on this. They can just become a trading coach. Aren't you the guy that put on that fucking insane reversal trade on the euro back in 2009? Oh, you know what's making the market do this is that Trump's going to shut down the government. Can't you see that's going to fucking destroy the dollar? That technical analysis shit doesn't work. What are you, fucking nuts? All those Andrews pitchforks you running over there. Where's Edge? Edge, come back to me. Yeah, people, you know, it's so funny. And look at this is all happening on look at this move. Wow, I'm tempted to get out. I'm up $7,000. We are going to make a bum rush before the Dow opens. Can we? Are we going to take out this floor? Are we back to yesterday's low? I think we just missed our exit there. Wow. Kind of horror. Look at this fucker. Oh my God. We're all the way back. Oh Jesus. So here we go. Wow. Look at that. Look at that vicious, pissed off fucking. Okay. 5-minute chart with 2-minute RSI. Wow. Look at that. So. This is the thing. We could hit this and just cut through it. Oh my God, most people have gotten out. Now it's $7,000. If this was real money, I would have gone flat right there. And because if you had sells here, you knew this was the deal. And you knew this was the trap, and you would have got filled right there. Which means every ticket here, you didn't have to pull the trigger, boom, when we hit that, or you have to pull all your take profits up to the seller's window. That's what you have to do. 1-minute chart. This is the big void. We break through it. We pull back to the breakout point. This happens all day long. Even on the 1-minute chart. Of course, 1-minute chart is kind of tradable at this time of day. Still waiting for Dow Jones to open. They shut down the government, honey. We can go get drunk. So, time frame overlay, 5-minute, 1-minute. That wick is that's a deal. A lot of sellers there. 15-minute chart. Now it starts to look like almost feasible. You can see what's going on. The 15-minute chart. Here we go. Moment of truth. Dow's about to open. We got to take out this and this. We had to take it out like a zipper going north and have a psycho engulf psycho. What is the Dow Jones doing? I'm not going to watch that. Another thing I never do is I never watch anything. I only watch the psycho babe I'm with. One psycho babe at a time. So, this is a rooftop that goes back here. There's one here. So they're all stacked up. Any scalper that bought this is already out. The conservative guys got out here. And then the people that stayed for that last little bit, they just barely got filled maybe. So we're waiting for the Dow Jones to open. We're up 60. So we were up $7,000 for a second there. just for a second. We're on the 15-minute, we're waiting. I think that's how you win at craps in Vegas. You let it ride, right? So if you let it ride, these other traders are going to make me rich. I'm riding the herd. Don't trade reversals. So some people are like, trend trader, I want to do a thing and critique this other trader only because I think that you just have to really accept that there's more than one style of trading. And I guess be good at different styles. It's okay to be a reversal trader. There's no shame in it, people. 76, $7,000 in profits tells you it's okay. $8,000. Can we blow through this top into the opening of the Dow Jones? Wow. This is going to be a contest. On your mark. And right now, people are cashing out that feel like, you know what, I'm out, it's too crazy. I don't know if you ever got that feeling where it's like, holy shit, I just doubled this account in less than an hour, almost doubled this account in less than an hour. I'm just going to get out. I can't handle the pressure. That may be, there's a million thoughts. Trend traders should be coming in now to sell this. We have a bottom becoming a top. We should be able to see the other person's trade. This is the half-hour view. This is the 1 hour view. The 1 hour view is very clean, but all this stuff orchestrates. This bottom is becoming a top on the 1 hour. Go to the 30-minute. It's kind of overshot because the 30-minute low is this low, which we've already engulfed. So if you just trade one currency, trading's very easy because just switching time frame is enough to blow your brains out. 1 hour, 30. So the 30-minute has to trip this. We expect sellers to come in here in this 30-minute window, which correlates to this 15, which takes into account this little baby 15-minute rooftop. Right, so the jigsaw, manual jigsaw trading, and this gets very narrow here. Okay, the seller should come in right there. I'm holding on. And if I really wanted to make $100,000 in a month, I think we could retrace. We're not even hitting the target. If we just make it to this price here, which is, so now when you go to the 4 hour chart, you can see, wow, look at that. And look at this drip down. The market has such dynamic behavior that really, who could, you can't just run a linear bot on this. You know, I mean, the only linear bot is the breakout. We don't know the extensions. How far is this thing going to crush down? Of course, now a robot's not going to be able to put buy limits in here. A human can do that. A human can see this new low and say, oh, let's buy that. That's a good price. Let's buy this. Let's get out. And of course, here comes the Dow Jones. 5 minutes of Dow Jones opening, which could we poke up here and start ripping these wick tops off? This is the Williams fractal. Or make your own. This is the round number. We've tagged the round number twice. So the narrative, the story on the 30-minute chart is that this top became a bottom on the 30-minute. Now, these are all cockeyed and just not really very uniform. But the psychology is irrelevant of time frame because, or of the way it gets there, the momentum of the market getting there, because this still is a top. In closing prices, even though you overshot, and you can make the argument that this rooftop here that was broke out, this little mini vac here, is a place to place an order because that is a top, probably on the 5-minute chart closing. So interwoven between all these things are the other things. We've still got 4 minutes to go. Now, a lot of people have taken their money and run. They're done for the day. The psycho scalpers that buy in like if you sold this new high, it's very counterintuitive, but very awkward to put sell limits up here, but you'd have to do that if you want to be a seller. And then you have to say, well, I've got to cash out of something at the point that I got in, and I have to get out of something on every treetop coming down. Every fractal, I got to cash out. I've got to, and if you're trading without stops, you'd have to religiously peel off one ticket every time. Scale out, scale in, scale out. You're getting out here, right? In other words, I'm presupposing you sold here. You sold everything here, and you knew that you had to get out here, here, here. As it dropped back in, it comes back all the way to the here where there's more. See, it's automatically martingaling in because your order should be here. You're getting it thicker, right? Maybe you are buying this. And this eventually becomes a winner. If you're a trend trader, that's the argument for trend trading. But look at all this money being made and all this bullshit here. Ding, 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 ding. 30-minute chart. Quite active. This is the critical window now. Is all this back here. This has been filled and killed. It's engulfing slightly. A lot of people are getting out here. This is a big, they're buying and selling here, a big pivot. And it's lower risk. If you can start running stops like this, so you see the stops stack up on people and algorithms, right? The pressure is building up here, and then we fill. Now, how you perceive this fill, this is why you need multiple time frames running on one currency pair so you can see the market in multiple time, in 4D. I'm almost double this account coming into the opening of the Dow Jones right now. We've got 2 minutes to go. We're probably going to crack this window in selling frenzy, cash out frenzy, and if this was real money, yes, I would get the fuck out. Because if this thing comes smashing back down, I'm in so big. We take out this where I got in at this amazing price. I could have placed those orders fucking yesterday. After yesterday's rally. This is yesterday's low right here. Let me just... Okay, we're crushing into it right now. Real money, I'd be out right now. Boom. Dow Jones is going to open. Sellers are coming in like fucking like gangbusters. Boom. Yeah, almost double the account. Right there, I just would have walked away. Just made 10 grand in 1 hour on a demo account. It could be real money. I bet I could get some gambler to do this. They'd be like, you can do what? Yeah. And they're not even going to lose more than 10 grand. Look at the frenzy here. Now, if I had a 10-second chart, I'd go to it right now. Look at the 1-minute chart. That's the window. That is the trading window. Psychosis. We actually see a little, almost a positive reversal set up here. A little more oversold. Not quite a higher price, but we'll give it a break because it is a top become a double bottom on the 1-minute chart. Now we're going to try to take out this next minute. They still haven't even opened the fucking Dow Jones yet. We want to hit this round number. We want to blow through it. We want to take the account up to $50,000. Or just let it go. Now, if the euro dollar never comes back to this window, this account, I would walk away and never get out. Never get out. I mean, I would say, okay, listen, this thing, like I said, there's going to be a squeeze point psychologically. So here's the story. If we can take out this high, I would definitely get out in this window because this is critical. You're at this wick here. You're also anything above here. So we all know there's sellers up here. Anything above this, I think this is probably even a Williams fractal because you have 1, 2, 3, up, turn around, down. So this whole vault here. And of course, to really do that properly, you have to put in the fact that there's way more sellers in this window because of that. And all the way up like a zipper. Now, we have never made a higher high in this currency in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days down. A trap here, but then again, 10 days down, and closing prices, we only had one we're back to the account's doubled. Should we get out? That's the daily. We can draw a tighter trend line on the daily than we can on the monthly. The same story. How do you know when to sell is when the market, you just make the assumption when we're here that this rally, you're a seller, or you're going to wait. If a confirmation trader would wait till that closed down and it sets in this zigzag. So if you're a zigzag trader, you build the zag here. So you're already saying, well, if we, this would be the target, right? That would be your target. If you sold here, that has to be your target, because you know that that's where people are going to come in and try to buy that touch on the channel. I mean, some people are. I'm just saying this is what people think about other people's trading, which is kind of weird in itself. So in RSI, what you're doing is taking this distance and this rate of change, adding it to this swing low, and this is your target. In price, you finally hit it a little right around here. Meanwhile, once you start crushing into this hole, this void, and this one's no longer important because this was the stop hunt on this trend trade here, or this is the low. Under 50 pips is not a bad place to get in. If I had a daily bar that was like this, now this is a trade that any goober could do. Oh, I saw it like a 40 pip day. Something's going to give. Here. Are any buyers coming in? The trend line traders can draw their first trend line. Here's a very steep trend line. This is look how this trend line is built off of this. So we're waiting for a zigzag. Our first place that we can hang our hat on the closing fractals. Okay, the Dow Jones is open now. Let's go to the 15. So it's a lot to keep track of. I don't know how people trade more than one currency. I seriously don't. I can't, because in 1 hour you can make so much money trading really big, and you could actually focus on one thing at a time. Yeah, I mean, I'd already be out. Like I said, real money, I would have got out, because I just know that you can probably only double an account in an hour or in 4 hours. Here comes the sellers. So a lot of people just got out there. As soon as the Dow Jones opened, they got the fuck out. Now we wait. There's no trade for the breakout bot. The breakout bot's waiting for another 26. So if you try to be your own bot, like be the bot, what's your trade? Now, I would say if I'm not in this market, I'd start putting buy limits here. But I don't want to blow up the account. I can see that this is where math's a problem. I got to figure, well, if I'm going to stick to my original plan, is I'm going to walk away from this account, let it make money for me now. And all I did was buy the auction before in the morning. So all I did is I just got up early enough to put 10 grand in the account and trade the fuck out of it. And like I said, if it was real money, I'm already out. I'm flat. And now I'm coming in with buy limits here. But since in other words, I've done so many videos that people say, yeah, but you're blowing up the account. I go, yeah, no, but I'm talking about execution. We all know what we should do, hopefully. In other words, how fast can you drive your new car? Do you drive just above the speed limit or just below? Do people tailgate you, piss you off, and you have to punch it and dust them? How do you feel about any of this? Now, if I was flat, and I don't want to fuck up the account now, I'm just going to imagine I got buy limits pending here. Now, what if these are 1Ks, and you've got $100 in the account? Is that a good trade plan? And we could just knock out trade plans all day long. Somebody asked me, do you have a course? Yeah, this is it. Put $100 in the account, put 1Ks in like that, walk away. Why do you care? People go to Vegas, dude. I'm ready to just go Gamblers Anonymous and try to find some crackheads that want to just till I show them a divergence on RSI. Two-period RSI. They don't know it's two-period RSI. The funny thing is you can't really unring the bell for some people. I never go. I always use a 14 RSI. I never go past the original settings. MACD, 12, 26, 9, they wouldn't just come out of there out of nowhere, Holy shit. You can take that down to like 1, 2, 3, and you're like, oh, I see what's going on. I get it. Hopefully. Look at this thing. Oh boy. Now here comes the breakout bots. They're kind of like, they're stacking up. The 5-minute breakout bots are stacking up right now. You can just feel them. This market ain't going nowhere. That's the only place to buy. That's the only pullback we have to get in. The trend traders are coming in. Look at that beautiful 5-minute trend. Oh my God. Oh my God, Becky. The trend lines have been drawn. Breakout bots come in. Got a triangle. Boom. More buying. Just goober fucking fractal bullshit entries. Adding to the long. Sellers come in. Kick it back. The only place to cover. Short squeeze from fucking hell now. News at 10 o'clock and then that's over. The fucking week's over. We're done. It's the end of the week. Go to the weekly charts. Are you selling on the weekly looking for lower? Maybe you are. Maybe you just got filled here, but holy shit. You could have made fucking $8,000 this morning trading like a samurai. I mean, you really have to not be upset when you're down $1,000. Now, if I was down $3,000 on $10,000, I'd be like, okay, okay, it's all right. I'm okay. Now, if the market's viciously smashing around, look at the sellers came in there. Wow, look at that. But we only bought this every 5 minutes. Another thing is that how big would you buy? Every 5 minutes it pulls back. I wouldn't buy that big. Like I said, if I was going to trade this for real, this is my current trade plan right now is buy limit, because we don't know. But we definitely don't want to pay this price because we know the sellers just came in like crazy in this window and they're loving it. Bears just want to take all the way back to this rooftop now. This is the new, this is the top that's become a bottom here in the vacuum. The tops and bottoms that are built on vacuum. We can assume a moving average is going to look like this bullshit. I like these people that want to have a moving average. Is like, well, this is automatically Dutch moving average. I'm like, oh my God. But we can all see the long-term moving averages. See, trend trading works. Look at all the money I made. But if you didn't get the fuck out here, and there's a guy coming in and buying all this shit here, it doesn't work. Maybe if you have a trailing stop, but what if they trap you here? You never even, well, you made, I guess, this if you, look how wackadoodle this market is. And maybe and I used to, the first time watching moving averages, I thought, well, this is ridiculous because we're here, which means I have to wait for this thing to come back to the moving average now. And I'm like, fuck, I don't wait for that. Now, if you do have a 13 EMA or a 20 EMA and you have, and you're at MT5 and you have a 1 minute chart, 2 minute chart, 3 minute chart, I get it. You can watch the order flow. You could run a 1 minute chart, a 2 minute chart, 3 minute chart, all right to left and get the whole time depth view of all the slices of the pie for the day. But you still have to have your finger on the trigger, and even if you didn't trade like this, like crazy samurai with no stops, and not really any tech profits other than those early scalps I built in, I'm only up on the balance $1,200. So it's kind of weird. Now, it is fun. I remember the first demos I traded had 100 grand in them. But I think the big challenge was to take a $500 account and make $500. That's possible. It is possible to double these accounts. But using that, if you get the account up to $1 million and you're risking half of the account, which people have done, then what? Like, damn. Then you would just tell yourself, well, I only lost 10 grand because I started with 10 grand. I got it up to $1 million. Then I risked 500 grand. And, or let's say you get out, right? And then the market goes in your favor. You're like, God damn it. Man, those fuckers. Now, this is if you're following rules. Well, my crossover system says I shouldn't be in this trade. I think this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. The training wheels that people put on these charts, RSI, same could be said. But I think if you do have a rule list that is time-based, okay, if you have a rule list that is like, well, it's touching the moving average, well, when the fuck is this happening? But if you actually can diligently look at the market every day, every 12 hours, you'd be like, oh, dude, they're going to crush down into that fucking thing. It's going to be ridiculous tomorrow. It is so fucking utterly stupid, the moves that the market makes. And the people would say, oh, well, you know, they're trading against all the technical analysis people because technical analysis doesn't work. Well, it's just because you don't know what you're looking at. I always look at RSI as like a spring. The market's a spring in a way. Spring loaded, vacuum loaded for vacuum fill. And then, of course, once it happens, it keeps crushing into a zone. People are like, yeah, it's just like, oh my God, like, this is when people's oscillators are just smashed against the wall, because now it's not about any type of, technical analysis doesn't work. If you're looking at the gauge on your car and it says it's overheating, but it turns out the sensor's full of shit, you have to have a common sense view of reality to some degree, right? I do like the trend line thing, and of course this is also another thing to keep you from over trading, is that these setups rarely happen. But if we can break this trend line, right, now the early entry guys have already gotten in because they broke this trend line. This is where I get in, because I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm not waiting for that stupid trade. But the day that I decided I was going to buy here, I was like, oh man, oh boy. Now you can see the market this morning, this psychotic move that is just literally, it's only been an hour and 15 minutes. Time is literally distorted to fuck if you're trading this big. Real money, 10 grand. I remember that, now, people want to do, or people would say, yeah, but you blew up the other 10 grand. If I make $1 million in the next 6 months and I blow up 100 grand to make $1 million in the next 6 months, then what? Who cares? People are like, dude, wow, you really came back? You're fucking crazy. Of course. Because once you figure out how much margin you need and how much you can push an account, where do you push it to? So I did this with an account where I had 1Ks in there. So I'm just doing the same thing now, just in a manual mode, no stops. The other one was all stop based. It actually would have blown up a lot earlier than it did. That because I want to just let it go. Never cashed out in the seller's window. I didn't even trail stops on that. But this style of trading here, where you're risking the whole account, really is, this is the real man trading. There's no sissy shit here. Of course, if you've got 3 other accounts with 50 grand in them ready to go, because you go, all those fucking, they blew up my $10,000 account. Dude, get out the 50, fuck these fuckers. That's how I trade. I've always traded like that. I'm like, oh, really? It's going to be like that, huh? So that's my attitude, is fuck them. Like, kill them all like God, sort them out. And meanwhile, while drawing all this, this is the only thing I can say good about Gartley's and trend lines. It slows down your trading. Now you're not over trading. You're waiting for a better setup. And of course, we all know there's going to be this moment where the 23 linear weighted moving, 23 and a half linear weighted moving average, that is the holy grail of moving averages, lines up on your 7 in a 3/4 minute chart when the Dow Jones is opening. If you don't take that trade, you're fucking insane. And you need to trade 40 standard lots on that entry. I mean, this is the kind of harebrained, I can't tell you how many books I read where I thought, I've got to look for that certain setup then. This is a winning strategy that works. Well, I better look for that. Just, well, you could hold a minute. No, I mean, what could prepare you for making money? In other words, if you have a good work ethic, you want to feel like all the stuff you studied, that you're like a pilot, like of an airplane, or you're a sniper. Everything you learned is what's causing you to be successful in that field. Whereas in this field, you could literally make money going, well, I guess so. Okay, we could blow this account up. And then you completely relax and just look at the thing and go, okay, well, let's do the math now. And of course, I really didn't do the math too much this morning, I must say. I'm just, well, okay, we know we can scalp 5 pips here. We know we can scalp 5. We can always scalp 8. And I could have just been done and conservatively walked away with this $1,200. Or do I let it ride and play like craps? And just go, fuck. Even if you had, what you have to do if you're in the United States, you have to have 10 or 2 or 10, somewhere between, pick a number between 2 and 10 accounts. And you just trade the yen on one account, and you trade, because otherwise the pip math doesn't work out either. The yen is at a different scaling, and you have a Swiss account. And this way, you don't have a feeling of scarcity. That guy was talking about that socialist pig that was going for $1,000 a month. And I'd say to anybody that, we're waiting for news to come out here, by the way. And they're filling me on limits in my mind's eye right now, on real money. So as we pull back here, I'm getting filled on my tablet. I'm tablet trading now, so I just keep hitting a button that throws them in. So they're coming into my buy limits now. I don't trade on the desktop anymore because I've been testing a lot of stuff here, and it's kind of a work thing, and I'd rather just lay in bed, roll over, and go, okay, let's put these orders in, go sleep, let them cook, come in, say, yeah, you know what, it's going sideways. We're going to either have to bite the bullet. And now this is where how much money, or in other words, what trade are you going to trade? Are you going to trade the psycho limit entry, or are you going to trade a little bit less like that and trade some breakout stuff? Look at the bears, got this thing by the nuts now. That's why I would have got out before. This window right here. So they're pulling this back off this top on the half hour. Still waiting for news to come out. 10 more minutes. Now I'm starting to get filled on limits. I'm going to buy all the way down for the next, for the rest of the week, I guess, the end of time. I always think end of time here. It's my buy window now. And the sellers came in right at that trend line, just by happenstance. Of course, you would have missed it. Just another thing, consider that if you draw a trend line on close and you're not here to nail that ticket, or you didn't have your ticket queued up there, when this pattern completes at the end of the hour, you're going to say, well, this is when volatility meets price over time, because now you're drawing this trend line. Like I said, if you ran all your charts, which I should do here, let me put up 2 charts. So in the left view, this is makes trading easy for me. I don't run there's that guy, that Mad Forex, that runs his tick chart on the left. I can't do that psychologically. Like, to me, this is the leading edge. Now here's a miter box trading system here. We're just mapping out. This is like a sextant if you're out on the water. So this is only if you believe the currencies are floating, which they're floating currency. Look at this, the respect this closing price has for my rate of change. I call this the ultimate pitchfork. So I'm into this geometry on closing prices. Fascinated by this correlation, the miter box effect. And all I did here was pick a key rollover. Anyone would do. I rebuild this thing in a second. You're just going to pick, say, these two tops. Find a risk envelope, maybe off of this top here. And you can see that this top is this top, right? And all I've done is taken like some rate of change that the market's already dictated, and hold down the control key, grab that, drag it over, and I can place it here. We get a perfect pivot on the 4-hour chart. There's 6 bars a day, and just keep finding a place to hang it. Now the current place here is the only one that matters, right? So this is the current window, and what is the support area? I'm going to go here. Well, we haven't touched that one, so we've only touched this one. So this is the current ricocheting off the 4-hour thing. Now, the question is, did you buy really big here because it's touching that line? And I was fascinated, why is it touching that line? So I do think that there is a intersection point here. Now, the rules here would have to be totally, you have to really think about this. Because if that's true, you need to connect these for your exit. So you should be exiting into this line. Now we can put in the internal inflection points. Now, this did not hold, and once this broke out, it became resistance, but only for a little bit. So this is your pivot. And these are like projected hard projections off of closing price. So we can see this is realistic target. This window right, this cone right here in this area. How long is it going to take us to get there? When the market came up here and closed here, you could make the argument that it's coming into this doji window here. This is the center of this redistribution phase. It's the center fair value of that. That's the doji. This is the body on the weekly. But how big are you trading on these things? And here you would have gotten killed if you overloaded. Anybody buying new lows here? And even if you bought on your projected, this is where it goes terribly wrong. You've got a projection off of this. I'm going to buy if it touches here. It even exceeds it. You should be instantly see where your trade plan sucks. You're buying a pullback to that trend line. You get in, this is where the top becomes a bottom, and it just, but see how many dimensions of volatility are interwoven in here. It's insane what's going on in here. 4-hour chart. Now that's a break. That does break the trend line there. This is the new trend line. Still up against this wall, fighting against it. Here comes news in top of the hour in 5 minutes. The news is coming up. So like I said, I would have been out a long time ago, because now, as you, the longer you sit in here, the higher the probability is that we go retest. take the count all the way back, and basically be down about 4 grand. If we got to come back to this shit, these entries, these golden entries, now, if I feel the need to trade more, I would just put money in another trading account. Because you got to let these things, you got to plan the trade the plan, let this play out. So right here I'm buying on limits. News comes out, we poke down in, scalp to here, scalp to here. Then it becomes a matter of like, okay, 15-minute chart. Now the 15-minute chart is really not a high frequency system. Here's the 15-minute view with this trend line analysis on close. It's very simple. It's your sell line. You have to sell at the clock, on the clock as it touches that. This is a lot more work, but it's definitely cheaper. Then you got to say, well, what's the buy? Well, hopefully you're getting out now because you're back at the pivot. Hopefully you're taking something off. And we're just queuing up. Here's your triangle. That triangle's good for about 3 time frames. Now it's so steep against the 4 hour. It's just easier to see the market like this for what it really is as far as these pauses that the market takes as it goes on these inconceivable, this bottom becoming a top on the 1 hour chart. If you just look at this snapshot here, if you could just take a picture of that, compare it to the same thing that happens here, it's the same story, right? We have a double top, sellers, you would sell here. You have the same setup, but in a different flavor. This one has way more zigzags. It has this, all of a sudden the market drops down to a smaller dimension of vibration there. Out of nowhere. Here comes the news. We're coming back up. We've got to blow through that today, or this account is fucked. I don't want to add to it. I'm buying on my tablet. There's plenty of places to get on the train here. 15-minute chart is going to update. This is the 15-minute pullback. If you're buying every pullback on the 5-minute, you bought this one and you bought that, you're long 2K, and you'll be long 3K now on the 5-minute if you bought every pullback on the clock. So there's another nice thing about the clock. You bought this, you didn't buy that, you bought this, you're long 2K, and you'll buy here at the end of 5 minutes at the market. And if you got limits, you can just barely see the wicks here. But they're stop hunting the, if you go to the 15, they're coming after this stop here. So we're going to buy here, pretty heavy when the news comes out, and we're going to buy on the way to there. So this account's only up 5 grand now. Think about that. You just left 4 grand on the table by not getting out when you knew that if you were a scalper, you had to get the fuck out there. You fucked up. Now we're going to buy here on limits. But I'm already too long on this account to add. Okay, 10 seconds before the top of the hour. That candle's closed. We're already in. 15-minute chart. We're going to buy at the market. We're in a 3K on the 5-minute chart. We bought. No more buying. Waiting to get filled on limits. We just trapped this zone. This basement's just been filled. So currently on the vertical price scale without any kind of ridiculous Gartley's patterns, this window is critical. On the 5-minute chart, we can step back this jigsaw to here. And look at that beautiful uptrend. It was so smooth and clean. This is the marching void behind we've created. 5-minute trend line down. This is the trend line to break. If we do a channel off that, and we're walking down this channel right now, we're actually touching these 5-minute rooftops, previous blown out rooftops. Tops become bottoms. This is still the monster pivot. That's still a big deal pivot. All the news is out. It's pretty much done. The trading for the scalpers, they've taken their $9,000 or $5,000 or whatever they made on that, however big you traded that, and they're done. They're out. Now it's like people that are long fundamental traders would say, well, obviously because Trump shut down the government, I'm just going to sit in this fucking euro and wait another see how long. Every day the government shut down, the euro should go up against the dollar. That's fundamental view. And they'll say, look, I'm right. It went up. Meanwhile, some goobers over there trading with fucking breakouts on the weekly. He's like, I'm in that same trade. It's crazy. That's why it's so silly. But I think it comes down to emotions of, if you're trying to make money, then why would you want to lose money? Why would you want to be underwater? Why would you want to take that kind of risk on? Why would you risk your whole account? Are you nuts? But it's not your whole life, is it? It's not every account, is it? It's not your, like, as if you've just got one account, but some people do. They have one trading account. I got it. It's a lot to manage more than one. And if you have one on your tablet and you have one on a laptop and you got different accounts, then you don't feel so, in other words, if you're a sniper, you probably got one gun, but what if you have 5 guns? Does a sniper just have one kind of gun? They're like, dude, yeah, they wouldn't, because right when they get killed, if you come into my house and I don't have like, if the barrel's so long I can't maneuver it in a small area, is a shotgun good in the bathroom? I don't know. Chainsaws are good. According to Scarface, chainsaws are good in the bathroom. But now look at this thing. They're coming after. Now this is the climb back, or this would be the wave 4 on Elliott wave. We've pulled back. We've drifted to the structure here. More scalpers are selling right there. So a lot of people bought that little dippity-do, and they know that this is the floor we're at right now on the 5-minute. And they're going to sell that. And they're out. They are out of that trade. I guarantee you. And now they're going to try to come after this void here that's been stacking up. We backfilled to here. The guy that bought here is just at break even. He's just at break even right now. The big long-term traders have bought this pullback. Who's in on this one? The 5-minute traders? The 50-minute traders that just buy every pullback they can get their hands on, which means they would have bought here and they're underwater. This way you'll see people sell here. It's also a doji. We're in the middle of this range. But they bought here, and they're up on this trade right now. They know that the sellers are going to be here for them. We should see reaction off of this void. 15-minute chart. So there's plenty to worry about with one currency. I just can't imagine how people are making money in Forex. Like I said, if you can handle that kind of situation of having 10 kids, I'd rather have just one kid and just put them in the basement, feed them under the door. I don't care if it's a male or female. Just okay, we're just gonna pimp you out to trade the markets. Your child seems to be very interested in there. Yeah. I would never send my kids to public school. I just brainwash them at home. I can brainwash this kid just fine. Okay, as long as he eats his vegetables. Well, they say that's bad. You got to be like eating live meat, running like a wild man. Okay, it's 5 minutes after. We've on the half-hour guys have gotten in. And the only pullback they're ever going to see today, probably. Are we off to the races? We can draw a trend line for the first time. We will assume that this is the new trend line and we just bought that pullback. Very steep trend line. And these trends are so steep sometimes that I don't even know how these people with moving averages are even... You got a moving average, really? Look how steep this move is. Look how this thing's hugging the closing prices. Are you kidding me? Look at that. 4-hour trend. Boom. And then it all just turns around in the trap. It's just so funny. So funny. This is the 4-hour chart now. Look at the pressure building up here. We got some pressure. And look how close these are together. Take this out like a zipper. Like a zipper. That's an 8-hour top there. Here was the trap for the Nowhere Man bots. Although the scalp bots made a lot of money there. As that drifts back there, it's a beautiful hammer actually on the daily, because you have this up, then you get a nice head on the hammer there. And also form a triangle just before that collapse. We got this top bottom failure here, and we got this volatility issue. I call this the Blue Jay trade. There's his beak. You want to enter at the beak, get out at his legs. Very important. You got to get out at the legs. There's the cardinal trade here. Get out at his legs again. That's the bird trading system. So it's better than a cup and handle, trust me. And look how my trend line's hugging the 4-hour chart, so I can actually put my trend line right there and go, yeah, that's the trend currently. Drop back to the 1 hour, and not so good there. Here is the 30-minute trend. If it closes up here, it's confirmed, but it's too late for me to buy. I already got filled on limits here, so I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to add to it. The 15-minute traders that are trading stop entry confirmation, they would put a buy stop here, I suppose. Because if this closes up, then, oh, that means that this has completed this trend line pattern. We actually got, that's the third touch on the trend line there. The trend lines only work if you keep redrawing them, because they just keep dissolving in midair. It's just like a mirage. Of course, this can be locked in stone. This is pivot here. No. The market is going somewhere. It's going into these voids. This is the big trap, and the bear is definitely cleaned up. I mean, there's no doubt. If you got filled right up in here, you were just for a half hour, you were a genius. Can that persist? Wow. Now, when you go to the half hour, you're like, oh boy, I don't know if my selling idea is good anymore. I guys should go out on the internet or take a look at the. Shouldn't I go to that thing with the Orlando people? I want to debunk a bunch of shit. I'm such a contrarian. I'm just looking to debunk everything everybody's saying. But I do think that some stuff has already been spelled out. Gravity does exist. I always want to be on at least flat Earth shows and say, how do you feel about electricity? You can't see it, but somebody just got electrocuted. Do you believe electricity exists? Because we're going to fucking electrocute you for being a flat earther. I mean, not only are you wasting valuable bandwidth resources, I just don't get why. I hate to go a political rant, but if you're one of these people that thinks if you're giving $1,000 to people, I mean, I should say that for a different. I'd have to go read the comments now. The news is out. The markets are in their own structure now. So I guess I can poke into this a little bit. Okay. So here's what somebody says about the. I can't get the screen to fill. My monitor is so exploded that Windows will not let me read shit. Somebody says to me, because I really am a capitalist, I think universal, I think UBI's universal basic income could work provided it's funded from land rent and not by taxing other working people. Now, I don't know what this Trader Paul is thinking. I can see a couple problems here. It could work. You mean we would assume that you think it's okay to give people $1,000 a month? What if they're an asshole? Well, I mean, it's so unethical to let Mother Nature, to force Mother Nature to. How about universal lawn cutting? Everybody gets their lawn cut. But then the squirrels freak out. They're like, oh my God, there's nowhere to go. We used to hide out in that guy's lawn. It was really long. Now what the fuck? What happened, back when we were kids and we were, I guess you'd call them, kind of the generation that said, well, we're going to do it different. And everybody's hugging trees, Oh, the environment. I mean, this is the whole climate thing. The leverages the poor planet, or my poor sparrows out front that are trying to eat. What are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about the turtles, right? And you can get on that parade and justify that into some ugly mess. But you're going to take money. Not only are you going to give money to people that have not earned it, just because they fucking exist. The immediate comment to that, no, it's a good thing. I can argue both sides back and forth here. I'll do the bull side and the bear side. I can already hear the argument in my head. Well, if you give people $1,000 a month, they'll go spend on the economy and they'll create more jobs and blah, blah. But that's pushing a string. You realize that's insanity. That's retarded. You don't know what these people are going to do with that fucking money. What if they go and put it in the underground market? What if they just lean on it and get fat? You're not helping people to give them $1,000 a month in the first place. That's completely fucking ridiculous. The fact that you're asking it could work, that the idea that you even think it could work is insane. Insane. Oh, it'd work all right. It's like saying, I wonder if drinking a fifth of tequila would kind of relax me. Oh, it could. But what's the side effect of that? And if it's funded from land rent, and not by taxing other working people, well, I get it. Land rent doesn't involve other people? You're kidding, right? I'm sure Trader Paul's a nice guy. I don't know if this logic's working. You're taxing other working people. The land doesn't just... You have to pay taxes if you own land already. Just by own... You can't even own the land. Land rent. Land rent. Well, the government owns your land. So the government's... It's like a... It's a circle. That's not an open system. The government's going to tax itself. I mean, what if people don't pay the taxes on the land? I really wish people would study Progress and Poverty by the U.S. political thinker Henry George. I never heard of Henry George. Let me look up Henry George here. I'll have to check that up. I think Trader Paul is not in the United States. Then Lee Diffusion says, I basically agree with basic income dependent on I think I know who Lee Diffusion is. I'm not sure. I talked to one of these guys that's, well, I would say flaming liberal. Maybe not gay liberal, but I basically agree with. Well, I like that he basically agrees. I mean, I hate to be so forensic in reading somebody's comment, but I can't hardly resist when somebody says, I basically agree with basic income. Are you trying to fucking hypnotize me? I'm hypnotized because I believe in it now because I keep seeing the word basic. Sure, I believe in it now. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Basic income dependent on how it's funded. I basically agree with that. Depending on how it's funded. In other words, I just can't believe people would embrace this concept. Sure, you can trade demos all day long. You can trade just treat it like fake money. What if I told somebody, and this is my idea for the how to get somebody to trade really good with fake money and not tell them it's real money. They would trade like really good. And you never tell them it's real, but you manage the account for them. I'd like you to come trade at my prop house. What we're going to do is we're going to test drive you. Make sure you know what you're doing. So here's an account. And you actually have real money in it. And they're like, oh, yes, sir. You can kind of see the person is one of those people that could probably trade with fake money real good. Real money, they shit their pants. Fake money, they're very careful. I want to make sure I can make it through the flight simulator before I take this puppy up into some high altitude. Oh boy. And then you never tell them you go, you know what? After a year, we're paying you $20 an hour just to come aboard with us and learn how to trade the way we trade here. So, see Ralph over there? He's been trading for 20 fucking years. You just follow what he's doing. And this person's fucking trading better than Ralph, right? Because Ralph taught, in other words, Ralph's got psychological issues and he does bad trades and just. But Ralph was a good trader. So he tells this noob. I think this is the edge if you own a business. This is like the Trading Places. Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. And not to mention he's a black guy, right? He should know how to trade. That's a classic movie. And this guy, I was watching this guy, oh well, it's just too tangential. But I can't talk about that. Basic income, depending on how it's funded. It just be funded from land, rent, not general. Why are people coming after this land and rent? Not general taxation. The communal generated land rent occurs only to property landowners. And I can't read the rest of the comment because fucking YouTube made it so I got to click on it, go to the thing, and then refresh it. And it's like, holy fucking hey. Is there an app that manages YouTube's bullshit fucking, or Google's bullshit fucking way it manages the fucking text here? I can't read the whole comment. But why is the landowner the target? Why not the meth heads? Why not the hookers? Here's one. I'm for universal basic income. You finally won me over with a bunch of martinis and hot Don Ho girls. I'm all aboard the socialist train. I'm ready to just relax and party on, Wayne. But how are we going to fund this puppy? I say a titty bar tax. The TBT. How do you feel, President, about the TBT tax? Well, how about the grab 'em by the pussy tax? Anybody that's caught on a public camera Now, this is actually based on ability to pay, so the fine is dynamic to the person that I'm sure the liberals would go for this. Well, that would be great because Trump's got so much money and he cheated on his taxes, so therefore, the grab by the pussy tax, he's already fucking got like penalties on top of that. I think the guy from New York finally admitted that he can't tax the rich anymore because they'll leave town. But he's not willing to get Amazon enough money to move in. Why do people in places of power think they understand economics? It's so hysterical. But it's really what team are you on? Well, I'm a landowner myself, so you want to tax me because I fucking supposedly own land? Wow. I can't wait to be a landowner. Well, just rent an apartment, dude. You're going to die tomorrow. Okay, there's a fork in the road. But, a house is not a home, right? Luther Vandross doing Burt Bacharach. But, you really got to think about the web of life financially. And, of course, there's already Barry doing land. Now, this is the classic attack. This is the battle between the homeowners and like if you go to California and you own a home, they never raise your taxes. You're taxed on the original purchase value. So why are people living in California? Because there's always a loophole in every place you go. There's always a nook or a cranny or a void or a vacuum that's not been exploited yet. But once it's locked in, of course, this shifts too. I was just watching the documentary for 60 Minutes Australia. 60 Minutes Australia. We're going to talk about the building that's about to fall down. Look at this building they fucking slapdashed up. I'm telling you what, man. It's got industrial braces in it. This thing is fucking... I thought it was cool when they said, well, this is actually what's going to be in your apartment. I thought, well, it's kind of cool looking. I like that fucking hard... hardware look. It just looks so bold and authoritative. I'm up for that. Look, we got divergence on this daily. And we got a dead cat bounce out of it. Not a reversal sell. I like this 2-period RSI on the daily. But communally generated land. The communally generated land rent occurs only to property. So the gun's pointed right to the head of only the property owner, not the guy next door who cuts the lawn. There's no lawn tax cutting tax. So what I want to do is come up with creative funding. This Ortez lady is really hot. So this might actually vouch for hot dumb chicks being a reality, a true structure. I'm only up $3,000 now. I knew I should have got out an hour ago. Only up $4,000. Should get out an hour ago. But for God's sakes, man, you got to be kidding me. So I'm just gonna say that nobody should get anything. You should be able to beg. Well, can't you just whore yourself out? I mean, the girls figured that out. They're like, oh my God, I'm so dumb and hot. I'll just get in the porn business. I'll just Playboy magazine. There was a Playgirl magazine. I was kind of shocked when I heard about that. I said, you mean to tell me they got a Playgirl magazine? What would they have now? If Playboy was to keep with that same trend, I would play transsexual magazine. Play tranny. Play tran? Yeah, but... And of course people are upset about that because that's been going on for years. Look at the bears are pulling this all the way back into my limits. Like I said, I would have got out if I was in that big. This is my exit door. Look at him drip this thing back. So coming all the way back, actually going to be underwater on this one that I bought. This is my one of my best entries, but now I'm buying more with my real money. So having multiple trading accounts, realizing that if I wait another 4 minutes that I'll be able to buy at the market on the 15, based on the 15, and now we're crushing into the buy window. How big are you getting in? Can I add to this trade? And I really should put a buy limit right here. I think I could, since it's a fake account, I'm just going to put and try to pick up 2 more tickets here, 1.3 standard lot. I just put 3 manual limits in. I'm like, okay, well, I can see it. Now, based on what I can see, it's going on the account. If the account was not getting hit that hard, and I never did the math on this, so what I'm basing my placement of those is on how much money is in this account. How close to blowing up this account am I? I've got $8,000 of free margin. I might even buy one at the market here. Okay, so I bought one at the market. Now that's about as far as I want to take this, because I start with 10 grand. I'm using almost 6 grand in margin. I'm only up 4 grand. I was up 8 grand earlier. An hour ago I was up 8 grand. I've given back 4 grand right now. But I took that opportunity to buy some more. And that's it. I mean, now I just got filled on my tablet here. And those are all double clicks where it just comes in like this. Buying this whole thing. And the stops come in down here. Some of the stops come in here. But I just buy that whole pullback. Boom. And the scalpers are getting out here. On that 15-minute floor, they are out. They're cashed out. Can they hold it down? And the 5-minute traders, the sellers came in here on the 5-minute structure, pull it down. New buyers come in here. People cashing out. So the 5-minute story on this trend line, 5-minute story. Trend line traders nailed it. If you babysat that and pulled the trigger there. You could have put a sell limit here ahead of time, though. At this level, you could add your sell limit here and pull the trigger. Added to it, maybe. You knew your exits had to be below here because you knew there was buyers sitting here. You got to get out you got to get out at this something there. You got to. So I had scalped the very first person in this account. Okay, now I'm up 5 grand. We have to wait for this to play out now. The 15. We've only bought. We're waiting for a minute to go by, and we will buy another at the market. Every 15 minutes is down, so we'll be in a 3K here, and on the 5-minute we're in like a way more K. If we stick to that strict rule of buying every pullback, we bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6K. This K here, or whatever it is, $1 million position, we know that exit has to be here in some regard for the scalp. And we hold on to these losers maybe? Or was this exit was supposed to be here? So you can see how on the 5-minute chart, yeah, you can make money, but now the spread's against you. You got to be very fast. You got to take the money and run. You got to realize what's going on in the bigger picture. It's very seductive to think, oh, 5-minute chart, yeah, but really? 15-minute chart, you're already scalped out. You hand placed some big fat orders here. You could have actually put in standard lots there. You could write a drop. I put in some naked limits here. I think I got 3 tickets pending there. And I didn't put any scalp on that one. So I could actually scalp out of that. I do have the one I just did. If I do it by time. This is the last one I just placed. I'm up $30. So I could take that off the table and scalp that. and leave these limits in. And if I did get out of that, I'd put a buy limit here manually. I just go like this because this makes sense, right? I put a buy limit there, scalp this bottom ticket. This one's from a deeper entry. This is a way better trade. I wouldn't take these bottoms off. And this is where the United States would have a fight with me. They'd say, no, you got to take this one off. That's your first in, or whatever the first in is. It's my first in right there, I think. Really a challenge to trade. Of course, it is going to make you a more, if you consider torture discipline, it's going to make you a more disciplined trader. You're forced to trade inside the. Well, that's it. It's 10:30 and it's over. We can sit back and let it roll. There's nothing you can do now. There's no more trading to be done here. The track's laid. We're either going up or down from here. This is going to be the big determiner. This is the next half hour. We are now stuck in this range. It's as simple as that. We'll wait for that to get taken out. We've added to the position on the clock. We bought that pullback on the half hour, so you're only in a 2K on the half hour. And really not the 1 hour, there is no signal. There's no pullback unless you close down here. The only signal is on the half hour right now.